Maybe you know this feeling. You make a small mistake at work. You forget to reply to a message. You say something slightly awkward in a conversation. And later, when the day is quiet, your mind begins to speak. You should have done better. Why did you say that? Everyone else is more capable than you. No one else may even remember what happened, but you remember, and you replay it again and again. For many of us, self-criticism feels normal. It feels responsible. It feels like proof that we care. We believe that if we are hard on ourselves, we will improve. We will avoid mistakes. We will become stronger. But what if this habit is not helping us? What if the voice that pushes us is also the voice that quietly hurts us? Today, we will explore why we criticize ourselves so much, how it affects our mind and heart, and how we can slowly begin breaking free from it. Take a slow breath. This message might be for you. Self-criticism does not appear from nowhere. Often it begins very early in life. Maybe you grew up in an environment where mistakes were not allowed. Maybe praise was rare, but correction was constant. You may have learned that love and approval depend on performance. Good grades meant you were good. Failure meant you were not enough. Over time, an inner voice was formed. At first, that voice may have belonged to a teacher, a parent, or someone important in your life. But slowly, it became your own voice. You began to monitor yourself, to judge yourself, to correct yourself before anyone else could. This can feel like protection. If I criticize myself first, no one else can hurt me. But this protection comes at a cost. Another reason for self-criticism is comparison. In today's world, we constantly see other people's success. Perfect photos, perfect careers, perfect relationships. We rarely see their doubts, their failures, their silent struggles. So when we compare our full reality to someone else's highlights, we feel behind. And again, the inner critic speaks. You're not doing enough. You're too slow. You're not talented enough. Over time, this voice becomes automatic. You may not even question it anymore. It feels like truth. But it is only a habit of thinking. You might think self-criticism motivates you. Sometimes it does push you forward, but most of the time it creates pressure, not progress. When you are constantly hard on yourself, your nervous system stays tense. Your body feels stress even when there is no real danger. You may notice difficulty relaxing, fear of making mistakes, overthinking small situations, and feeling never satisfied with your work. Even when you succeed, the joy does not last long. You immediately think, I could have done better. Self-criticism also affects confidence. Confidence does not grow in a hostile environment. If someone followed you all day and told you that you are not good enough, would you feel strong? Probably not. Yet many of us do this to ourselves every single day. Over time, this can lead to low self-esteem, anxiety, burnout, and emotional exhaustion. And sometimes it can stop you from even trying new things. You might avoid opportunities because you're afraid of failing, not because you're incapable, but because your inner critic is too loud. Self-criticism promises improvement, but often delivers fear. Many people are afraid to let go of self-criticism. They think, if I stop being hard on myself, I will become lazy. I will lose ambition. I will stop growing. But research and real-life experience show something different. People grow best in environments of encouragement. Think about a child learning to walk. When the child falls, we do not shout, "You are terrible at walking." We smile, we support, we say, "Try again." Why do we treat ourselves differently? Some of us believe that pain creates strength, but there's a difference between discipline and cruelty. You can aim high without attacking yourself. You can improve without insulting yourself. Being kind to yourself does not mean ignoring mistakes. It means learning from them without destroying your confidence. Self-compassion is not weakness, it's emotional maturity. The first step in breaking free is awareness. You can't change a voice you don't notice. For one day, try observing your thoughts. When something goes wrong, what do you say to yourself? Do you say, "I always mess things up. I'm so stupid. I never do anything right"? Notice the language. Is it extreme? Is it absolute? Words like always and never are rarely accurate. Your inner critic often exaggerates. It takes one mistake and turns it into a personality flaw. But a mistake is an action, not an identity. You did something imperfect. You are not imperfect as a person. There's a big difference. When you notice the critical voice, pause. Ask yourself, would I say this to a friend? If the answer is no, why say it to yourself? Instead of attacking yourself, try becoming curious. Curiosity sounds like this. What can I learn from this? What would help me do better next time? What was outside my control? This shift may seem small, but it changes everything. Criticism shuts you down. Curiosity opens you up. Criticism creates shame. Curiosity creates growth. For example, instead of saying, "I failed because I'm not smart enough," you can say, "This strategy didn't work. What can I change?" This way, you stay responsible without being cruel. You remain accountable without losing self-respect. Growth becomes sustainable. Self-compassion has 3 simple parts. First, mindfulness. Recognize when you're hurting. Do not ignore it. Second, common humanity. Remember that mistakes are part of being human. You are not alone in imperfection. Every successful person has failed many times. Third, kindness. Speak to yourself gently. Not unrealistically positive, just fair and kind. For example, "This is hard right now. I'm disappointed, and that's okay. I can try again." At first, this may feel unnatural. If you have criticized yourself for years, kindness may feel strange, but with practice, it becomes more natural. Just like self-criticism was once learned, self-compassion can also be learned. Many self-critical people are perfectionists. They set very high standards. High standards are not the problem. The problem is believing that your worth depends on meeting them. Perfection is an illusion. No human being is perfect in all areas. When you tie your value to flawless performance, you create constant pressure. Instead, try separating your effort from your identity. You can fail at a task and still be a worthy person. You can make a mistake and still deserve respect. Your value does not decrease because of one imperfect moment. Imagine your mind as a home. For years, the loudest voice inside that home has been the critic. What if you slowly invite a new voice, a calmer one, a fair one, a supportive one? Breaking free from self-criticism doesn't mean the critic will disappear forever. It means the critic will no longer control you. When it speaks, you will recognize it. and you will choose whether to believe it. You deserve a peaceful mind. You deserve encouragement from the one person who is always with you, yourself. If you often blame yourself, if you replay mistakes, if you feel never good enough, you are not broken. You learned to survive in the best way you knew. But now you can learn a healthier way. Improvement does not require self-hatred. Growth does not require shame. You can be ambitious and compassionate. You can aim high and still be kind to yourself. Tonight, when your inner critic begins to speak, pause. Take one slow breath and answer gently, I am learning. I am growing. I am allowed to be human. Breaking free from self-criticism is not a single decision. It is a practice, a daily choice. And every time you choose kindness over cruelty, you take one small step toward peace. And that step matters.